briefly summarize why you think a soft landing is effectively bullshit, because a lot of people think that the Fed may be able to achieve that. So why is that not the case?
Right. This is an interesting one, and I actually made a custom chart in Bloomberg onto the screen. It's called NT News Tracker. It's a cool screen, and basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to plot headlines over time. You can plot the frequency of a word or a phrase appearing in headlines over time. And I really like this because what I did, Michael Cantro tweeted something about this, and I discovered how to do it on Bloomberg, and I made my own chart. I plotted the amount of times that the frequency, the amount rather, of soft landing headlines, right? Soft landing basically means that the US economy was booming, and now we're going to bring it back to baseline growth without causing a recession. That's the idea of a soft landing. The amount of times that headline appeared versus the Fed's policy rate or Fed funds. And what you've seen through time over and over and over and over again is that headlines about a soft landing, which are always totally in vain, it's a pipe dream, they peak. They have this huge blow off top right when the Fed is done hiking interest rates. As soon as the Fed reaches its peak interest rates, soft landing headlines, they zoom through the atmosphere. Because the Fed, their interest rate, monetary policy, it works on an 18-month lag, 12 to 18-month lag until you actually feel the meat of those interest rate hikes begin to run their course. The meat of the economic contraction, credit contraction actually occur. And so there's this transient period, this temporary, fleeting period where the Fed has raised rates from 0 to 5.5%, but the economy is still fine, it's still stable. And that's when headlines about a soft landing, they spike. Because everyone and their mother forgets about the long and variable lags with which the Fed's monetary policy tools take effect. It takes time. So the Fed reaches their peak rate, but there's this temporary period before economic calamity kicks in that everything's okay. And in that period, soft landing headlines spike through the atmosphere and they peak. But every single time, it's totally in vain. There's no such thing as a soft landing. A soft landing has never occurred. It's the idea that you can return inflation to a 2% target, maintain a 2% or 3% GDP growth annually, and you can do it all without unwinding the labor market. That's the idea of a soft landing. It's never happened, right? Ultimately, the labor market unwinds every single time at the end of every single Fed hiking cycle. It is always the end, like poetry, over and over and over again to every single one of these Fed hiking cycles. It marks the end and the start of a new economic, a new business cycle, a new cycle of interest rates. And a tale as old as time, the soft landing headlines peak, and in recent weeks, they've begun plummeting again as economic data is continuing to worsen on multiple fronts, and pundits are coming to realize soft landing, maybe it isn't a reality after all. It's going to stay a dream.